Hey there, it's Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan, and here we're looking at a 2004 Land Cruiser 70 series. And this one's the final year of production here in Japan, and it has just 82,000 original kilometers on it. We'll take a look at the vehicle compared to the auction inspection sheet. Have a quick look at the engine riv. That's the 1HZ engine, which is a 4.2 liter naturally aspirated tank of an engine. These things are extremely reliable, like 800,000 kilometers reliable. They don't put out an awful lot of power. For that, you'd want the HD engine, which was in the 80 series and the 100 series. The HZ is the longevity reliability engine. And you can run these with basically no maintenance. I don't recommend it, but basically no maintenance for years and years and years before you do anything. Now, oil and this is coolant, but the coolant and the oil both look fine. There's no rust inside the engine room. It's a 2-battery system. Let's see if that's in series or parallel. Okay. So, yeah, those ones are in series, and so it runs a 24-volt electrical system instead of the regular 12-volt. I think the later ones maybe, like, let me explain it. This is the last one, but they continued making the 70 series on from here. And then they did a special 1-year only super hyper limited edition in 2014 here in Japan. And then they just as of 2024 started the 70 series again, which is like a modern interpretation of it. It's not like a retro-styled vehicle. It actually is a 70 series, just with a different front end. And so the 70 series are ultra popular. These ones here, the 76, that was made between 2001 to 2004, are probably the most sought after of all of them. They're selling for nearly the same price as the brand new ones that have just been released are. And that's because this is the most modern that you can get these. And, you know, it's a classic collector's car now. So let's go ahead and lower the hood. I don't have the auction inspection sheet for this one because I'm an idiot and forgot to bring it, but I do have it on my phone here. So if you freeze frame there, you can see my wife and daughter. So I'll go ahead and translate this from the phone if you don't mind. Let's see if we can get out of the shadow or into the shadows here. There we go. Okay, so this one here, I'm not sure how well you can see that, but 2004 Land Cruiser 70 ZX Long 4-wheel drive. This one has the locking center diff, locking front diff, locking rear diff, and locking hubs. This is as 4-wheel drive capable as you can get until you get 6 wheels, honestly. Auction rate 3.5, interior C. Sales points are purchased from user 1. First time at auction, no smoking car, aftermarket wheels, seat, and fog lights, a sports steering wheel. Okay, I think that says cold weather package. Garage kept, but that's been crossed out because you're not allowed to write that. And I honestly don't think it's been garage kept. There's some fade in the paint. So not all of its life been garage kept. Owner's manual. Interior and exterior have been cleaned, and it is clean indeed. This is one of the better ones that I've seen. So report here says seat has a small rip in it, which is true. Steering wheel wear. Right front tire house has been replaced. Winter tires on it. Underside surface rust and corrosion. It's pretty minor. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I'll show you. Oil minor leak. Again, nothing to worry about. That's basically just oil sweats. Wheels have corrosion, which is true, and they're the late model version of the wheels, and so seeing these wheels on a Land Cruiser 70 is very rare. But unfortunately, they are fairly corroded, as you'll see there. And then cowl panel scratched, dented, and paint marks on it. Cowl panel is this guy right here with the fins in it. And yeah, it has been repainted by the look of it. It does have a little crack there with some surface rust. So it does need a little bit of work. And then the body here, you can see some A2, A3, A3, AU2, AU2. It actually looks better in person than you would think there. And sorry for not having the original sheet. So I'm going to show you the damages on the car and some of the details about it. And yeah, the Land Cruiser 70 This is their workhorse from 1984 until now. They've sold the same vehicle. That's a 40-year-old vehicle. And it still carries the same looks. I mean, the front end has changed, but the new version, this is all the same. From door to end of car, windows, roof, all of that's the same. And so it is very crazy. You'll see these all around the world, especially in a lot of countries where you need something that's dependable and something that's going to be able to go over rough terrain. Here in Japan, it's a little bit of a cult classic. And then in many countries like USA and Canada, we never even got the 70 series. And so driving one of these on the streets is really fantastic if it's outside of Japan. Even in Japan, when you see these, it's something else. Here in the Tokyo area, I mean, we live in Yokohama, but it's right outside of Tokyo. You can't register one of these. And then the new version of it is gasoline only. That can't be right. No, the 2014 one was gasoline only. It was a V6. And then that was the only time you can get one of these with gasoline. Otherwise, all of them are diesels. And the new version, I believe, is like a 2-point-something liter 4-cylinder diesel. Good engine, but not a 6-cylinder and not the V8 that you can get in Australia. Okay, so some details. IPF fog lights. I think they're quite smart looking fog light. They're chrome faced and they look like they've been installed fairly well with some putty that's been used here for to seal it. The front bumper sticks out a lot. That's just the way that these are for the 76. And then the grille is fairly modern looking, all things considered, especially compared to the older ones. Same thing goes with these corner lights. And the 70 series, there's two versions. There's the Land Cruiser version like this and the Land Cruiser Prado version, which I don't have one right now, so I can't show you. Oh, I do. Shoot. Prado 70 series. So the Prado is a lighter duty version, and this is parked really close to the other cars because we're tight on space. But the Prado version, have a look. The front has completely flat headlight to headlight. The Land Cruiser one is pinched in, and so the headlights are closer together, and there's a larger fender here. And that's how you can differentiate the Prado from the older 70 series. And then the new versions don't have the pinched in front end. So if you want that classic 1984 pinched in front end, this is the newest one that you can get, at least out of Japan. Okay, has a little bit of fade on this front grille part. It's not super big problem. You can get that electroplated again. Probably about $200 or maybe $300 to get that redone. And then the car has some fade on it. If you take a look, it's not as glossy as it was from the factory. And you'll notice that coming down here. It is glossy, not as glossy. It's not peeling anywhere. It's just looking a little on the dull side. Okay. So polymer coating should fix that up. And with something as valuable as this, you're going to want to keep it in good condition. So we have some bush scratches. These come from actually using the vehicle as it's intended in the forest, and branches come by and swipe it. Should be able to polish those, but do be careful not to cut through and burn your paint off, because it is, like the clear coat's a little bit weak there. So take care if you are going to polish it. Don't polish too much. Some minor scratches there. Fender mirrors, which were an option. You could get the mirrors, the standard ones here. You could get the fender mirrors if you wanted. I love all cars that you can still get the fender mirrors on, because I just think it's so crazy that it exists. Cars used to always have fender mirrors, and it's something unique and historical about Japan. You can even get the Skyline R32 with fender mirrors. Like, it's cool. So some minor cracks in this here, here, and here. And it still holds its place, and the mirror doesn't vibrate or fall out, but the same problem is happening on both sides. Probably use a little bit of caulking in there to make sure that it doesn't get any worse. Okay, the auction sheet said an A3 on the hood. It's right here, and it goes down past the paint layer, but it's not that large. Like A3 is usually a bigger scratch than that. Coming down this side, we got a little bit of chip here with some rust. The rest of this is all looking good, save for the paint not being all that glossy, and some minor scratches. You'll be able to buff those ones out. The back section here, we got some rust on the tailpipe, and we have some little spots of rust on this chrome section of the back bumper. And this corner piece, it's a one-piece corner unit, has been dented in here at some point. Still running the original tail lights, and a little bit of a nick here with some touch-up paint on it. This is the breather for the cabin. That means that when you close the doors, you don't have the doors like pop out because of the air pressure inside. Older cars, again, had those exposed. There's another example. This taillight's a little bit shinier than the other one, as is this side a little bit shinier than the other side. And so wherever they parked this car regularly would usually get more sun damage on the left side than on the right. All wheels have some corrosion on them. I'll just give you a quick look here. Okay. And I'll continue on down the other side. This is the original tire, so you're going to need to get that changed because it's now 25 years old. 25? Not quite 25. And some fade on the center cap as well. This wheel is actually in fairly good condition. Coming down here, against the driver's side door, there are a few chips in here and a few minor scratches. Okay. Something damaged the caulking here, or the gasket. And I think that's basically it. Did I show you the scratches on the roof? I can't remember if I did. There are some A3 on the roof according to the auction sheet. Come up here quickly. And yeah, probably a good idea to get these at the very least painted over with some touch-up paint so it doesn't turn into a rust problem. They are quite a few of these scratches. They are fairly bad, but the good news is you can't see them unless you're an ultra giant. So any sort of repair up there doesn't have to be the most beautiful repair because it's out of sight. Now about the four-wheel drive system in this. It's regular two-wheel drive with a transfer case to switch it to four-wheel drive. The older Land Cruisers, especially the 70 series, also the high aces, the LH series, had a selectable hub here, so you can lock the two hubs. So basically, if you turn four-wheel drive on, it engages your front drive shaft. And oh yeah, solid front axles, always on the 70 series. So if you know why that's good, you know. These ones here are a little bit different because they're automatic locking or full locking. You put a wrench in there, and then you can turn them to be 100% locked or auto. This is really cool because now you can drive this as a four-wheel drive when it's not snow or mud, just anywhere around town. The earlier ones you couldn't do that. You couldn't run four-wheel drive in dry conditions because you would have wheels binding. This one you can, but if you need that more certainty and the harder lock, the immediate hard lock, you can turn that on. Very cool. Now we got some corrosion here where the wheel weight used to be, some more over here. The one on the other side is kind of the same. Now, going to the interior, and I also want to show you this. And for people who know about the locking dips, you are going to be impressed. And then you're going to email me and say, how do I get one of those? And we're going to say, it's not easy. Like the seller of this didn't mention it. But the car comes with this option, which was like a fairly expensive option. On the new ones, it's $5,000 to get this. And this is your locking differentials. And so on a regular four-wheel drive, let me just get out so I can show you. On a regular four-wheel drive, you will have an open differential in the back. That means if one of them slips, all of the power goes to the slipping one and you'll completely lose traction. And then on the front, you would have like the locking hubs, which is fine because you would get both of those to engage. So technically you would have a three-wheel drive vehicle. Now, this is not counting something like a four-wheel drive Fit. This is like a real four-wheel drive would have this. What the locking differentials do is you press the center lock differential and then you get a steady 50-50 to front and rear. So it just locks the two of those together. You lock the front and you lock the rear, and now you have a complete lock between side to side and side to side. You have to be in snow or mud in order for you to use that, but it's an option that four-wheel drive fanboys absolutely love. It adds a lot of value to the price of the car, which is weird that the seller didn't mention it on this, which is also the same reason why it's not easy to find that, because many sellers don't realize that it's worth money, or you have to be able to read Japanese while you're reviewing the sheets in order to see if the car has it or not. And then what's neat about this is you get the locking diff in the front plus the locking hubs in the front as well. So it's kind of like a double locker. And while it is redundant, you get to choose if you want the full lock or you want the, I guess, the weaker of the two kinds of locks. Or the diff is going to give you a very, very strong lock that's not going to break or bind. The outer one just isn't as strong of a technology, but you can choose which one that you want. I don't know what the fuel economy difference is between the two. We'll come back to the interior there for now. I want to show you the back, and I want to show you an issue that I found on it. And I'll show you the corrosion on the underside while I'm here. Okay, so barnyard style opening doors, which is great. The only downside is it limits the size of the tire that you can put on here if you're going to use the standard tire size. If you want to go up in size, you can go up slightly, but you can't go up enough that you're getting in the way of the door. You can adapt this so the tire comes out further. I've seen kits that do that, or some people that put on super knobbly tires just don't run a spare tire at all because like a larger mud tire is usually strong enough to almost be shot at and stabbed before it blows. So in here, this is the long wheelbase version. So you get plenty of room in the back for putting your things. You can also flip this down and up again to give you a maximum amount of space. You do have tire hubs or tire houses in here. And I don't know why, but the Land Cruisers always have this divot on one side. It's not only the 70 series that does that, the 60, and I think the 80 does it too. I'm not sure what it's for. So some dirtiness in there. It looks like you should be able to wash that out. In here has a hidden little container place, which is nice. Underneath here, you'll find some rust. 2 places of rust, one on either side, and it will need to be repaired before it becomes a problem. Right here, which, if you look in there, it's actually a little bit worse than you might think at first. And the one on the other side here, which is worse. It's going to need to be ground down and repainted. And because it's in a place that you can't see, I don't suspect you actually have to rebuild it by welding new metal in there. I think just grind it down and paint. Door cards here, good condition, with a few minor scratches. Not too bad. Okay, this being the late model version, you get a new interior pattern, and I quite like it. Sadly, the driver's seat has been changed over to an aftermarket one, and it no longer shares the same pattern. And I honestly don't think you'll be able to find one of those seats. You might be able to find a used one, but with this pattern, it might be hard. And if it were me, I would try to find it. So if you're the owner of this vehicle, let us know, and we can see if we can find anything. It would be a bit of a long shot, though, because these are so rare, and it's just unlikely that people would be selling an original seat for a car that people don't usually change the seats on. Yeah. Okay, into the driver's area. And oh man, I gotta say, driving one of these things is a special experience. They are a heavy-duty four-wheel drive vehicle. They're not a comfortable car. More like a G-Wagon from 2005 than, actually better than that, but then a G-Wagon from 2023. Like, yeah, they're bumpy, but they're fun. You sit up nice and high, the diesel engine growls, everyone looks at you and smiles, and then they stop you at the gas station and say, "Where'd you get that?" And then you say, "Pacific Coast Auto, let me give you their email address." And then it's a good day for everybody. Okay, so it's a fairly 90s Recaro seat in here, some sag on the side bolster, and every time people put in aftermarket seats into these, they squish this side because it's quite a jump to get down, and a lot of people will sit on this as they're sliding down and bend it over time. So wrinkles there, the rips are right here, they're minor, and a little bit of dirtiness on the seat. Steering wheel, it's a good steering wheel, it's a little on the old side. So it has a little bit of wear on it. It's a leather steering wheel, so of course you can refurbish it if you want. It feels good. Has quite a bit of wear on the original floor mat that's underneath here. Not quite a bit. I don't know why, but they all wrinkle there. It's kind of a thing. but it has worn out the Land Cruiser sign there. So I guess they got one from a newer Land Cruiser and put it in, which is kind of fun. Okay, you can change the idle speed by this, which is something that's required while 4x4ing. Sometimes you want to be able to idle up a hill, but you don't want to be like constantly depressing and letting off and depressing and letting off. So you can use that. Also, idling through a swamp or water or river or something can be helpful. These later models have a different gauge set that looks a bit more modern. It has, instead of the mechanical mileage, it has a screen there for it. Has an aftermarket temperature gauge. I think it's oil temp, but I'm not sure. And then some speakers that are just lying here, which really need to be cleaned up. A couple of mounts on the dashboard. Okay, check this out. This is a Toyota thing I've never seen before, and I love this kind of thing. Whenever I see a car that has like a dealer option, that's very, very rare, especially in an older car, it just makes me so happy. Secret box. Put the code in, and then you can open it. Currently, the code is 520, so I think that's the code to open it. But you can lock stuff into your dashboard with its own little mini safe. Now, it's obviously not a real safe, but it is cool. I love that a lot. So AC works nice and well. You can actually set the level of AC on this. You always have been able to with Land Cruisers, which is kind of cool. It has a mystery switch here. I think that's for the fog lights. You can do high gear ratio and low gear ratio as you can with all of the earlier Land Cruisers. I think the later ones, I think you can with all of them. And then, yes, 5-speed manual. Amazing. SUVs with a 5-speed manual, super thumbs up for that. E-brake works a little on the weak side, actually. I had to give it a good yank. So maybe something to check. Power steering is good. Yes, locking differentials. Love it. Okay, and it looks like you get the same later model floor mat for the passenger because it has the different Land Cruiser logo, but only the later model one here, so it doesn't perfectly fit. Metal on your dashboard. You can't do it anymore. Only Land Cruiser gets to do this because it's a legacy design. You still get a pad up here, but yeah, that started with the 40 series. You could still get away with it when the 70 series first came out. And the car just continued to be made. Nobody can tell them, you can't make that anymore because this is a legacy car. It's grandfathered in. Very cool. Okay. That's going to be the end for this video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Gosh, I love the 70 series, and how much do I want to have one myself? That's going to be it for that. Of course, if you have any questions, please let us know. There's a link to our website in the description. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and have a nice day.